For the families who lived in the Dust Bowl 30s, depression was no mere economic term. Their farms were buried in burned-out soil, and there was nowhere to turn. So they moved on. They went the way Americans always went for new beginnings, to the West. In a single 15-month period, 86,000 crossed into California, more than twice the number that came looking for gold in 1849. Along the way, they stopped to talk about how things would be when they bought their little white homes in the orange groves. It was a dream they all carried like the dust, and it too blew away. Instead of new homes, they found migrant camps and 2 or 3 hungry families for each job. So they learned to live where there was no work, and they learned to eat what they could find. They learned to survive. All this may seem like ancient history here in the fall of America's greatest harvest. But what is worth remembering is that people never lost sight of what could be. They followed the dream, no matter where it blew, and made life better. Today, there's a trailer park on the site of the old migrant camp in Modesto, California. Many of the folks who live here lived here then. During the Depression, it was just one of the many stops on their endless road. Now, it is home. And it is here we found Florence Thompson, who more than anyone else came to symbolize America's determination to survive those desperate times. Florence Thompson. She lives right over there in that trailer. No, you wouldn't recognize the name, but few people forget the face.
Me and my kids, we lived in tents and lived in bamboo houses and everything else, so I could make a living.
She was called the Mona Lisa of the 30s, a migrant mother whose picture haunted the nation. Florence Thompson was 27 years old when the Depression started. She had 5 children and was pregnant with another, and her husband was dead.
I chopped cotton in Fireball down there for 40 cents an acre. I picked cotton in Shafter for 50 cents a hundred, 40 cents a hundred. I'd hit that cotton field before daylight and stay there till it got so dark I couldn't see. And I didn't even weigh 100 pounds. I used to fill up them old 12-foot cotton sacks. I couldn't lift them. I'd have to drag them to the scales halfway across the field. And I picked all the way from 400 or 500 pounds of cotton a day.
Her children make more in 1 hour than their mother made all week. Daughter Catherine works in a turkey factory that can process 18,000 birds a day. Her sister Ruby raises birds, pigeons for the gourmet table. She and her husband now have things her mother never knew.
If she could have gave us all these material things, maybe she would have. But that I don't think would have replaced what she did give us. She gave us all a sense of worth that nobody owes us anything. We had pride you wouldn't believe because of the idea of someone feeling sorry for us. That we didn't want.
They did not have much, but they had each other.
Looking right here. Okay, that's one.
Florence Thompson kept the family together. Her 10 children and their grandchildren still live in her valley. And they still return for their father's family reunion. A father, some of them, never even knew.
It would be difficult for a mother today to raise 10 children like you did.
I don't think you could take a woman and put her out and do what I done to make a living. I don't think she could make it. Not the price of groceries and everything else. I really don't. And I worked in hospitals. I tend bar. I cooked. I worked in the field. So I done a little bit of everything to make a living for my kids.
Did you ever lose hope?
No. If I'd ever left hope, I'd never made it.
Florence Thompson, the Migrant Mona Lisa, an American classic. 30 years after that picture was taken, one of Florence Thompson's grandsons was in Vietnam. He saw the photograph hanging inside a GI's tent. The face had been printed black, and the black soldier who owned it swore she was black. Florence and her story had not yet been found. But that frozen moment of her life, that picture, writes its own story in each of us. The stroke she had this summer took her voice. The cancer took her from her trailer, but she is at home with her family, and they are trying to build back her strength for an operation. Doctors have told them there is little hope, but Florence Thompson knows something about hope. For today, Bob Dotson, NBC News.